Doc Ellis. This is July 25th, 2023. I got all dressed up to do this today. You can see my knees. All right. William, what criteria is involved in total disability individual unemployability? You got to have 40% and then can't work. And that's, can't work. All right. And then the doctor saying that and putting the medical rationale together that you can't work. So if you're still working, it's probably not going to work, but if you can't work, we can get that done. All right. Alfredo, schedule award. Does MMI, that's maximum medical improvement, anything to do with scheduled award compensation? Yes. You have to be what's called in federal workers' comp, maximum medically improved. Now that means you're well. Let's say you have a total knee replacement and you need physical therapy off and on, but it's not going to change the total impairment in the future. So you're at maximum medical improvement. You're not well, you're just maximum medical improvement. And for scheduled awards, like if you have carpal tunnel, you have to wait a year before you can do a scheduled award, a year after nerve or being involved. All right. So maximum medical improvement is different than doctors are trained. I had a patient who the doctor, thank you doctor, did 5 surgeries under federal workers' comp, so he didn't have to do it on his health insurance, didn't have to pay copay. But he got the question, when will I be at maximum medical improvement? Well, never. You're always going to need therapy. That would have cost him $310,000. Fortunately, he was on the webinar. He got in here and we did schedule award. Really simple. I mean, it's got to totally replace the range of motion, ligaments, and come up with the numbers. Okay, but he's a maximum medical improvement under federal workers' comp. All right. Here, I need to speak with you about a service-related condition. How to stop a reduction. How to get in touch with you. You go to ellisclinic.com, click VA appointments, and come in. All right, now, I had a guy who had PTSD at 50%. It was dropped to 10 without an exam. And in my report, which I rate you actually was 70, I said, now, I've explained to the veteran he should not be upset with this doctor at the VA who lowered him from 50 to 10 without an examination. That doctor is just the greatest doctor in the world. I'm not as good as that doctor, the VA doctor. I had to actually see him to come up with my 70%. And of course, it's just fraud. So, you know, how you stop reductions? You stop reductions with another report, a nexus report by a doctor that's going to tell the truth. And don't spend $10,000. There are people out there gouging these vets. We charge $500 a condition. And if it's a back and you have pain down both legs, it's still just one condition. If it's hearing loss and ringing ears, it's one condition. Come on, we're not going to. Don't spend all that money and don't give anybody a piece of your award. That's unethical, doctors, if you're doing that. Okay. Now, lawyers can work on contingencies. That's because that allows people to have lawyers that couldn't afford it. But doctors, that's unethical. Why don't you just treat you and call it like it is, no matter what I get paid. Okay, here, Vicki's a long bunch of stuff here. In the service, domestic abuse situation, husband went to all the meetings and all the doctor visits and all this. So there's very little medical records. That doesn't matter. If you come in and you tell me when your symptoms started and your exam shows, and that's consistent with what happened, that's your medical record. The best medical records are none. Or that burned up in St. Louis. And then you tell me, we'll get it taken care of. Okay, so that takes care of the abusive situation. And of course, you're going to add psych to that. Good Lord. Now, I don't know why God had us walk upright. That's bad for knees and backs. And men married women. Now, my wife is the most wonderful woman in the world, and we'll be married 60 years this August, but she's got 2 X chromosomes. I'm missing a 4th of a chromosome. Why would God put us together? So any woman that complains about a husband, it's your fault, you married a retardo. Oh, there you go. Okay, that's enough theology for today. All right, now, QTC, general med exam, don't give a shit. Okay? So if you have no records, we'll take care of it. Now, you had shin splints in the service, and someone said they went away. Did you tell them they went away? Then you should be rated for shin splints at 0, but not denied. But if you're still having symptoms, they're not gone away. Your doctor just didn't want to write it down, or he's going to lose a job. So you had a knee replacement, now you're allergic to metal. All that becomes service-connected. Okay. The pain, the PTSD from it, the sleep deprivation, you're on a CPAP machine now. Okay. If you're overweight with a CPAP machine, then that knee that's service-connected that contributes to your weight gain. It's all covered. Skimpy records, don't worry about it. You outlived 2 primary care docs, good. Because you don't want anybody writing a nexus report that's not trained in federal workers' comp, VA disability, legal medicine. Over 50% of litigation requires a doctor's report, and you need to have legal medicine training, and we're not trained. All we learn about legal medicine in medical school is that lawyers don't go to heaven, but there's more to it. And don't worry about archive records. If the VA wants them, they can get them. Okay, Melanie, gallbladder surgery at age 18 and experiencing all kinds of symptoms. Now, when you go inside the tummy, an appendectomy of gallbladder, you leave a lot of things there, adhesions. If you lift your tongue up, that little frenulum, that little band that's under your tongue, that's called in the tummy, that's like an adhesion. It's a very, it moves. It's like having a bunch of plastic rubber bands in your stomach, blocking off the movement of the bowels, because the bowels have to move smoothly to get the gas and the poop down the line. And so it's very common to have that just from adhesions, and you take out the gallbladder, that reserve for the bile you're not the same as you were, you're going to have trouble. That makes it service connected. All that stuff, GERD and all that stuff is service connected. Okay. And next letter, no, that's an easy one. Here's Elizabeth. Army flight surgeon, yay! Powerlifting team. 40% seizure disorder began in the Army. Out processing, they said, this the heart found something, and then it said non-compensable knee pain. If your knee started hurting in the service, it's service connected. If it was before the service, an aggravated service, it's service connected, no matter what that doctor said. And it took about 2 years ago, I had somebody out processing, wrote down all their symptoms. The sergeant tore it up, said, give me a blank one. So don't trust those people. Tell the truth. Now we've had major seizure activity. That's going to upgrade your brain injury. Okay, so we add the seizures to it. That's easy. Unconscious and yeah, but that brain that's it. 30% PTSD. If it's higher, get a new rating. Linking my tinnitus to head trauma, absolutely. The ear has 3 semicircular canals, and head trauma takes the little otolith, a little piece of bone, looks like a stone rolling around, can do that, and it can contribute to tinnitus. And tinnitus, by the way, contributes to sleep apnea and heart attacks and strokes, both by case law and medical information. And tinnitus certainly aggravates PTSD. Because the tremors, because that's a different thing than seizures. You're getting a tremor, but since the brain's all covered, anything downstream from the brain is covered. For me to suture anyone, oh yeah, okay. And can't put my contact lenses. Yeah, it's easy, no problem. Because the law is very, very fair. It's just that we aren't trained in that. Here is Richard. Korea is 75, got drunk downtown having sex, got skin off penis. Okay. So that's service connected. And been in the hospital for 3 weeks. And so that's done, and of course then that's going to interfere with ejaculation. You may have ED, and what's the psychological trauma on that? Okay, certainly, sure. How do you file the claim? ellisclinic.com, a VA appointment, come on in. That's it. We just tell the truth. That's all we do. Christopher, he's got 10% for tinnitus. That's triple bypass. Tinnitus contributes to hypertension and strokes, and so your triple bypass is contributed to that. It's contributed to your your coronary bypass. And we've got the case law now, to a layperson that may sound ridiculous because the treatment, the amount that tinnitus contributes is very minor, but the law is if it's even a little bit, it's 100% covered. But not like this or state workers' comp, like in the state of Oklahoma, I would not let you pay me, I would not let you come in because we wouldn't win it because of the criteria are different. But in federal and VA, the criteria are very, 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 very fair. Cardiologist, okay. Widow, okay. Vietnam, the Navy vet, okay. So we've got all the Vietnam stuff. And so let's see. Prostate cancer is covered, hypertension covered, diabetes mellitus is covered, and his coronary artery disease, 4 stents are covered. And if any of those contributed to his death, then the death is covered and the widow gets a pension. Now, it may not be on there, but then we could just have them say tinnitus contributed to, if he dies of a cardiovascular disease, tinnitus contributed to that. And we can write a nexus letter for that. In fact, this is a doctor. Give me a call. I'll tell you how you do it. She won't have to come see me. Because it's fun to take care of widows. And of course, if you charge a widow light, you would come through the ceiling. Okay, so thank you, Jen. All right. Okay, here's NB. Sits a heavy piece of electronic equipment loaded into my car by the VAM staff. He herniated his disc lifting it up. Reasonable accommodations, 29 days. It's a documented injury. Okay, now this is, so he is a federal employee. That's a work-related back injury. And now it's going to be a harass because he turned some stuff in, didn't turn some stuff in, and all that stuff. We can overcome that, but yeah. Telemedicine or in person, with that kind of stuff, you really want to do in person. Now you can always do telemedicine. Then if they accept it, great. If they don't, then you come in. Whichever you want to do. Now, can I go directly to scheduled ward? No. First you have to get it approved, and then you get a scheduled ward. Now, to get a scheduled ward for a back, in federal workers' comp, you do not get an impairment rating for a heart, brain, or spine. Because you don't need a heart, brain, or spine to work for the government. No, it's a 1916 law. What's this word scheduled award mean? Like in state workers' comp, it's permanent partial impairment, disability. Okay, so you cut off a thumb. It's a schedule for that. Schedule. So you only rate extremities, lungs, penis, uterus, and a few things. But you don't. There are a lot of things you don't rate, like abdominal, gallbladders and stuff like that in federal, because they've not changed the law. I mean, the government doesn't even have time to balance the budget, much less fix the federal workers' comp law. The only real change to the federal workers' comp law of 1916 was in '74, where you get to pick your doctor, and listen to this, everybody, in federal employees. Your doctor's medical opinion has more probative or legal value than the government's doctor. It's an unfair battle. So be careful who you pick. You need somebody that's got balls, that's willing to take on the government, knows the law, and takes care of everything. All right. Christopher, tinnitus, triple bypass. Yep. Heart condition. Yep. There's case law and medical law, medical literature that shows that, and you'll just need a nexus report. And then we rate you whatever your disability is from your heart. But also, then it gets that approved. But let's say, in the meantime, you die, but you've got tinnitus. Then we can, for the widow, get it approved as a service-connected death because the tinnitus contributed to the heart attack. So doctors know the law, or just say refer to somebody. And guys, don't be spending these $10,000, people, and don't go with anybody that's going to get a piece of the action. Now, Attorneys can do contingencies. That's why if you don't have money, you get an attorney, and if they win, you give them a piece of it. Okay, or Social Security, you're going to pay somebody to help you do an oral hearing because they turn down 90% of it. It's unethical for a doctor to do anything on contingency. So anybody that's doing that, I'm calling it unethical. I'm not calling it. The American Medical Association is. Now, we charge you $500 a condition. If you want a DBQ too, it's another $500. I don't recommend them, but we'll do them because some parts of the country, the veteran service officer or the rating person really wants them. So it's better just give it to them, even though it's not required, it's not by law. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt your case at all. So it's worth it. Okay, I mean, you get 10%. That's like $140 some odd a month. That's what. Now, if you're poor, you're homeless. This is what we do. We will require you. Now, if you're rich, we don't require anything. But if you're poor and homeless, we want you to come up with $500. We'll do 4 conditions. We'll send you a report for one, then you start getting paid for that. Then we'll send you the next one, and we send you the next one. But you don't have to come back 4 times. Save you a lot of money. And if you're really, it's guys, you know, veteran service officers and you guys, if you've got somebody that's desperate, give us a call. You know, it's like I said, we don't charge widows. No, I do charge widows. Charge them $500, but then I gift it off. Because if I didn't, the lightning would come through that with ceiling and hit us. And can you imagine how fun it is to do a widow's pension? Fun. Thank you for the privilege of taking care of you. I'm so glad I got drafted and became a Vietnam veteran and all that stuff. So thank you for everybody. I love you. You're my beloved. And so if we can do anything, give us a call. Get online. Send questions. We'll answer them. Thank you, Gary.